Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Small Business Success Talk. I am your host, Christy Smallwood, and this is the place where small business comes together to learn more about each other in this, journey of small business ownership, if you will. And the roller coaster ride that is, there are some days, y'all, some days. I also want to give a huge shout out to my sponsor partner, the Chamber of St. Matthews. If you're not involved in your local chamber, come visit us. We would love to have you. I am getting ready to start my second round of directorship, if you will, on the board. My term started this year, and I still don't know how I feel about it. I love my people, but being on a board is a little different than just being a member. I love it, though. Honestly, I love it because it gives me a chance to have more of an impact and a direction. So get involved in your community somehow, some way, and consider your chamber. With that, thank you for coming to this show again. I love knowing that you guys are out there, you're listening. I love having conversations that are off digital. I get to talk about all these episodes locally. I get to talk about them whenever I meet new people. And I love that it's starting to get out there. So feel free, if you have somebody that you want to hear from on this show, please contact me, let me know, and we will work that out, get that set up. Great conversations all the time. I love doing this show because these guests energize me every single time. And if they're not energizing you, then you're just not into small business like I thought you were. It's as simple as that because I have great guests. This one is no exception. Ashley Ford with Pretty Penny is an accounting firm. And I chuckle because it's just fun to say, for one. And it totally matches Ashley's persona. She is a delight to talk to. She knows her stuff. First of all, she's very credible, but she just is like, she almost glows. She's an absolute delight to talk to. If anybody's going to be concerned about what to do with their money and how to get that, just call her. Just go ahead and talk to Pretty Penny accounting firm. They got you. This will be a great conversation. What I wasn't prepared for is how much fun she made it sound to be an accountant, to do the bookkeeping, to do the fine. Like, she loves this stuff. And I told her, I'm like, I need people like you in my life because that's an area I do not enjoy. I like money. I don't like the details of keeping track of money because it's a lot of detail, and that's a lot of work that takes me away from my sweet spot in my businesses. Like talking. Obviously, this is one of those areas that's kind of my sweet spot. But Ashley makes that sound so much fun for her. Still not a thing I'm going to get into. I really enjoyed this conversation. I hope you will too. Meet my newest guest, Ashley Ford with Pretty Penny. So, Ashley, thank you so much for being one of my guests on this show. I'm looking forward to getting to know you because you are brand new to me, into my circle, as we discussed in the proverbial green room. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me on the podcast today.
Awesome. So, I'm very interested to get to know you, but I'm also very curious about how you came up with the name for your accounting firm, which is Pretty Penny. I love it. And I don't know if I should even say it that way, but it sounds so happy. And I want to know how you got there.
That was the goal. So I love so much that that's what you felt whenever you heard it. So whenever I started my business, I was working a 9-to-5. I was working a full-time job and was really just craving something a little different. I was working in accounting. That's what I do, is accounting services for small businesses. And I was working for a small business, but I had this like entrepreneurial spirit in me and it needed to thrive. So I started a side hustle and was doing it on the side a little bit. And when I decided to start the side hustle, I was literally in my car one day from on my lunch break. Sometimes you just need like a little break from your coworkers. So I'm just like eating lunch in my car. And I was like, I'm just going to take the first step to whatever this business is going to be. And I was like, okay, well, first thing I need to do is pick a name. And so I started Googling, like, what are some sort of accounting phrases? I didn't want it to be my name. It sounded too professional, for lack of better terms. I'm very like cheesy and bubbly and lighthearted. And and kind of a happy-go-lucky kind of person. And so I felt like the name needed to fit that. And so I started just Googling like accounting phrases, and the phrase "a pretty penny," I kept seeing that. And I was like, that's kind of catchy and kind of cute. And so I played around with it for a little bit. And that's how I got to really narrowing it down to Pretty Penny. And I was really scared at first. I was like, are people going to take me seriously if my accounting firm is called Pretty Penny? And it turns out it really fits my personality. So it was a good choice.
Yeah. Seriously, it makes it sound happy. Like, we are having this conversation right at the beginning of traditional tax season,
Yeah.
which is not the time anybody wants to talk to an accountant. Like, nobody has to, as a business person, I have not one person, not one other business owner in my circle enjoys these conversations. Nobody likes this time of year. So
It's a stressful time of year for most people.
because we already know what we're getting ourselves into. It's usually
Yeah.
never like, oh, look, the government's going to give you money back.
Exactly.
So that's fantastic. And I already love the fact that you said you knew your personality and you wanted something that fit that. And the name of your business is in alignment with who you are. And as a business owner, congratulations. That helps a whole lot.
But it was hard. I felt like going into the accounting industry, I needed to be this really buttoned up professional. And I was worried that people weren't really going to take me seriously if I showed up as myself and was a little bit more casual in the way that I went about things. But I found that the more that I leaned into really who I am and providing services from that platform, like from that space, I found clients that I really loved working with because they saw me for who I was, and the relationship was a lot easier. I wasn't pretending to be someone, and they weren't like, did I hire, I got to work with clients that fit better. And so the more that I saw that, the more I really leaned into it.
Kudos to you. I
Thank you.
I'm stumbling over my words because so sometimes it just takes forever for somebody to get there.
Yeah.
And I'm I'm pushing 50. Just might as well own it. This year I turned 49. I'm not the first one in my social group to turn 49, though. I'm still the baby. So I'm owning that. But as we enter this next stage of our lives, it's become very prevalent that we have believed certain things about the way business is quote unquote supposed to be.
Yeah.
And just in the last handful of years, honestly, when I relaunched some of my own stuff, my own business, I basically did the whole fuck it thing. It has to be something that I want to wake up for every day,
Yeah.
and the bills will get paid somehow. Like this,
Exactly.
I need to be able to show up well. So good. Again, good for you. I love that. Like, just the energy around it is just so exciting. So tell me what you love most about it. Like, what jazzes you about being the person you are doing what you're doing?
Hearing other entrepreneur stories. It's been my favorite thing about being an accountant in general. Like, I just find it really fascinating what people choose to spend their time doing to make money and how they got into that field, and then what strategies they use to find success. Like, I just find the whole process really fascinating. Everyone's story is a little bit different. I'll talk to two people who are in the same industry and do something pretty similar, but the way they got there and the way they run their business is so incredibly different. And I just find that so fascinating. So it's the piece that in my business has never, like, that light has never dulled. I've always just found it so exciting, jumping on like discovery calls with potential new clients and things like that. I'm always like, tell me about what you do. How did you start? Like, I just want to know more about the person. And that's really what lights me up.
Nice. So how long have you been doing this now?
Pretty Penny has been around since 2018. So this year will be 5 years. This summer will be 5 years.
Nice. Yeah, you're over the traditional hump.
Yes, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah, there's more mountains to climb, but that first hump, man, just
Yeah.
getting your feet wet, skis straight, whatever you want to call it. It's a progression for sure. So tell me about this background of yours, because I heard you like I just needed a break from my coworkers and I went to the car. I was like, oh my God, I remember those days. The car with
And
the safe space.
yes, yes. And I loved my coworkers, but sometimes, it's just, especially when you're in a job that there was nothing negative necessarily about it, but it was not lighting me up. I had a long commute there and back, and I felt like there wasn't a lot of growth potential. So I was just in there like plugging data and, checking boxes and moving paperwork. And it's what I was doing every day. And so, yeah, that's just whatever, you just kind of need a break from your coworkers and the job. But I graduated from OU and I went to work directly for a CPA firm. So it's a smaller CPA firm, around 15 people. And it was incredible. I worked there for 5, maybe almost 6 years. And I was given a ton of responsibility there. So I learned a lot really fast and was doing the same thing there essentially as what I do now. We were serving small businesses, all different kinds of industries, doing bookkeeping and accounting work. And I loved that job. And the CPA that owned the firm retired. So there was an ownership change. And right about that time, someone that was my client needed an accountant full time. And so I transitioned to go work for them. And it was while I was working for them that I took the lunch break in my car. But it was great to be able to see things from a different perspective. So I went from working in like a public accounting space where I had multiple clients and was seeing different industries and what people were doing, to working for inside of one small business and really getting to like get in the owner's head and understand how he grew the business and what numbers were important and what was really important to him from an internal perspective rather than just kind of looking outside in. So it really was a good perspective shift and I learned a lot there. But it was really then that I decided, like, I started kind of daydreaming, like, what would it look like if I went off on my own? What could I build? What would my life look like then?
Now you are not a solo. It looks like you have a team. So what's
I
been your
do.
progression there? How have you actually grown your own business?
Yeah. So I have 5 people on my team now, and we have some contractors that we work with too. But when I first started, I was a solopreneur or solo worker. It was just me. And it was like that for maybe a year and a half, probably about a year and a half. And then the pandemic happened and everyone's life was like,
Yeah.
flipped upside down. But also I had a lot of free time. I wasn't doing anything social. My weekends were free. But I also had the full panic moment because I was full time in my business at that point. And so I had a full panic moment of what's going to happen if these clients leave. And at that point, all of my business is coming in from referrals. So friends of family, people in kind of the DFW area, because I live in Dallas. And so I invested in a sales and marketing coaching program. Until that point, I did not have a website. I didn't have business cards. I mean, I literally didn't have a single marketing material. So
Girl.
I know. Looking back, I'm like, how did I make it that long without those things? I
Right.
really don't know. So I dove like head first into sales and marketing, and I grew a social media presence and I built out a website. I mean, I'd had the URL saved, but I'd never done anything with it. So I built out the website and really learned marketing and sales for my business. And my business took off at that point. So I hired someone, and then a few months later, I hired her, I was like, just 5-10 hours a week. I just need a little help. And then within a few weeks, I was like, we need to get you up to full time. It grew really fast. And then a few months later, hired another person. And then about every few months from then on. And now here we are.
That's awesome.
I probably skipped a few bumps along the way there,
Sure.
just grazed over those. But
Of course you did. But I did hear that whole catalyst of sales and marketing because that stuff
yes,
matters. It does
yes,
matter.
it
I
really
love
does.
talking to those business owners who they've never had to do any of that. And it just amazes me. And I'm like, how did that start for you? And 9 times out of 10, it's been because grandpa did it. Right. So they've been able to um expand on what already existed. They didn't have
Yep.
to start from scratch with nothing.
Yep.
So there's a huge difference there. Like if you can leverage somebody's reputation that already exists, you can build faster, I think,
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
without near the materials versus, people like me who have to put a lot of work and effort into it every day.
Yep, same here. And it really put it into perspective for me whenever my business was just based on referrals. there was it was out of my control, right? Like all
Mhm.
leads coming in was out of my
Yep.
control. I was just waiting around for someone else to refer me. And so it really actually was, it built a lot of confidence for me to take back control of that that lead generation and be able to bring leads in and know what that funnel is going to look like, rather than just like, well, I hope someone emails me today with a referral for a new client, you know? Although we still love referrals and we operate a lot with referrals, but
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yes. But I like that you said take control back. And, you know, some of us have, I say some of us, the impression that accountants typically like they work 3 months a year
Mhm.
mostly. And then they're maybe like teachers and where they like minimal for the rest of the year. What do you do in that time? Like you've done 90% of your work in 3 months. Does it matter for the rest of the year? I mean, ideally, yes. The smart people are like, use your accountant monthly.
Yep,
Yes.
exactly. So we do, our main line of business is monthly bookkeeping. So we are every single month, most of our clients are on retainer with us, and we provide financials for them on a monthly basis. And we have advisory built in. So we're helping them make decisions, create budgets, forecast revenue, um, hire, all of that kind of stuff. So we're year round busy. I would say actually January is really busy for us as we're kind of closing out year end, getting ready for tax season.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's excited about the new year.
So when you work with somebody, and I might just be asking questions for myself, I don't know.
Yes, let's do it.
When you work with somebody and you, because you mentioned budgets and forecasting, when to
Yeah.
hire, like, do you walk people through, here's how to make this best financial decision? What is the trigger point? Like, when you get to this point, now you can make these kinds of decisions. Do you tell people that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we do. That's the part I really like. I mean, the bookkeeping and the data is important. That's the most important part about what we do, I think, is really making sure the information is accurate. But it's important because we want to be able to take that information and make decisions with it. So what we do is we try to guide our clients on how to make the best decision. Like what are their goals? And then we can make sure that their numbers are lining up with what their goals are. And if their goal is to hire people, what do we need the numbers to look like so that they can hire, so that they know when they hit that point that they're ready. And then they also know what their budget is to pay somebody whenever they start interviewing for that position.
Because that's one of the conversations that, I've had with a lot of my clients over the years of they don't know how much to pay somebody,
Right.
but they've also not really budgeted for it.
Right.
So understanding what that looks like in detail
Yeah.
of like, how do I figure this out? Having somebody to go to who understands how numbers work is a huge gift in life.
Yeah. And we even have a calculator because I think we have an outsourcing calculator that can really, it's like an outsourcing and hiring thing, but it can show you if you are willing to take a cut back on what you're paying yourself for 1 to 3 months and invest that into a new hire, what that return's actually going to look like for you and how much more money you can make with that time. I mean, if you're taking 20 hours a week off of your plate, what could you be doing with those 20 hours that are going to get you closer to whatever your goals are? And again, it always comes back to whatever their goal is. Not everyone's goal is to like grow as fast as they can and hire as many people as they can. So we want to make sure we're not like, okay, you're at that point, it's time for a hire. It's more that we want to figure out what their goals are and work backwards from there. But that calculator really helps people see when's a good time to hire and also how beneficial it will be for them once
Right.
they make that investment.
So, like, if their goal is to, oh, I don't know, take a vacation,
Yep, exactly.
you can
Yes.
get people to be like, do this now.
Exactly. I think so often people think that business goals have to just be business related or have to hit these certain revenue numbers or, and those are important. But I really think, I mean, our personal goals should be directly in line with our business goals. And if your personal goals are to travel more, spend more time with your friends and family, or not work as many hours, those goals are just as important as whatever is going on inside the business because we need to make sure that those are lining up together.
Absolutely. I mean, to me, that's the whole reason for me to be able to be doing my own business is so that I can
Yeah.
control all of that. I can create all of it myself. I'm not dependent on the whim of somebody else
Yep.
deciding for me what my capacity is. or not.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
And when you can take off and what that time off looks like. And yeah.
Yeah. So I, I talk to all of my guests about, who influences them. Like you didn't get here all by yourself.
Definitely not.
so so who has influenced you over time to like really lean into your entrepreneurial spirit and go for it?
Yeah. Well, I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. So my parents owned a business, and my mom is just an incredible saleswoman, and she's owned a few businesses in her life. And so it's been really amazing seeing what her entrepreneurial journey has looked like and what that provided for me as a kid. I was really able to see the ups and downs. There were times when work was busy, but there were also times when she was able to take off with us and travel and um attend our sports games that I was horrible at, but she's there, and just being able to like see her journey with all of that was really impactful. So I think even from a pretty young age, I knew I wanted to run a business. I think I always thought it'd be at a different phase of my life. So sometimes I still am like, feel like I'm waking up from a dream that I'm doing it now. But she truly has been like the most impactful person in my life. And she still gives me advice constantly about how to stay sane and find joy in entrepreneurship and how to build a business that you love. And then the CPA firm that I worked for, the main CPA that owned the firm, she's still a mentor of mine. And she was just absolutely incredible. She is like a tough love kind of person, like put a lot of responsibility on my plate and really pushed me to grow. And so there's so many little nuggets of information and one-liners that she probably doesn't even know, but I think about them all the time. Like, all right, we got to push through this, or I can figure this out. She really taught me how to problem solve.
So what's been one of your favorite pieces of advice you've gotten over the years?
Oh gosh, I pass this down to my employees now, and I'm sure they think it's annoying, but she used to always say, you're not going to like everything that you do, but you should love most of what you do. I would come to her with like, I don't know, something I was working on for a client, and I would be like, I don't want to do this. This is annoying, or it's taking too long, or it's a process that seems antiquated, or I just don't want to do it. She would look at me and she'd be like, Ashley, you are not going to like every single thing on your plate, but you should love most of what you do. So if this is the only thing you don't like, you can get through it. Like, okay.
I
So
think
sometimes, yeah.
Brendan Burchard calls that embrace the suck.
Yeah, he does. Exactly. Sometimes you just got to do it. And as an entrepreneur, we got a lot of things that we have to do. So there's just some things in there. I think for a lot of business owners, that part is finances, and prepping for tax season. And it probably isn't what you love, but we have to do it. But that doesn't mean we just like close up shop and push everything off because there's a little piece we don't like.
But see, this is what makes our lovely world of small business work so great. And if people lean into what they love and their
Yeah.
talents, because I need people like you, because that is a total suck of my day. I do not like messing with it. I do like a budget because budget is planning. I like to play with budgets
Yep.
and I like to see money in my account. I don't like any of the other pieces. The rest of that are the things that, they're necessary for the business to move forward. And at the same time, I'm like, I
Yeah.
need people like you in my life because we don't like to do it. So thank you for doing
Yeah.
what you do and loving it so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just like you said, I mean, I think that's where entrepreneurs get to thrive. Like if you get to spend most of your time in your zone of genius and doing what you love, and you are able to like confidently outsource things or lean on other people for support in areas that you don't love, that's where we really get to shine and find more joy in our business because we're not feeling so drained by trying to do the things we don't want to do. I have an issue going on with my website right now. I played around with it for like 30 minutes. And I finally was like, I could spend 3 days on this and probably still not figure it out. So I need to find someone that can fix this issue for me and it will be worth whatever they're going to charge me for it. Like sometimes we just have to know our time is better spent doing things that aren't going to drag us down.
Absolutely. I've had those conversations with myself in the past few weeks. I'm like, I because my brain then goes to the things I don't enjoy doing,
Yep.
or those things that keep me locked into things I don't need to be doing. And I'm not getting to the things that are going to benefit me the best.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I mean, part of what I do with my business is help people not be like me to stay out of the weeds, get
Yep.
to where you need to be and that all of that. And I want to also um come back to you've made your business name sound so happy
Mm.
and like the impression it may give versus what you're doing. So one of the things that I've created a culture around is I take what I do very seriously, but myself, not so
Mm.
much. Like if you can't have some fun while you do
Yeah.
it. And I can't express how much I love Pretty Penny as a name for an accounting business because it's just so happy.
Well, that just makes me so happy that you said that. And for me, accounting can be so intimidating. Like the
Mhm.
financial side of business can be so intimidating. And I never wanted to be an intimidating person. I wanted it to be someone that I wanted Pretty Penny to be a firm that people felt comfortable talking to and felt comfortable opening up to. And I mean, when you're working with anyone on a financial side of your personal life or your business life, it's kind of like opening your robe. Like you're just kind of exposing yourself. You're like, this is everything that I have. And I wanted people to feel comfortable with us.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah, because
like you said, we can, yeah.
there's so many who just don't have their shit together and then feel bad. Like I'm way better than I ever used to be. I've got systems in place, so don't get me wrong, but I still know people who haven't done anything for years, and all they've done is just throw stuff in a box, and
Yep.
that's what they're going to hand over to you. And then, like, the reason why it's taken so long isn't because they don't want to get it done; it's because they feel bad because they haven't done it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And
We hear that so, so often.
that was going to be our next question. Like, how do you handle the feelings on the front end?
We joke sometimes that meetings with clients are actually therapy sessions. They're not really about numbers because a lot of times it is kind of like confronting mindset around money, which is a huge thing. And just that, like you said, maybe guilt or shame of not having to do it. And one of the things I hear the most often when I'm talking to business owners is that they always think like, oh, I'll just get everything organized and ready and then I'll hire an accountant. Like I'll get it all figured out and then I will find support. And the truth is, that's really what we are here for. And we love it. Like, we love taking what someone else thinks is a mess and it's like a puzzle for us. And we get to put it all back together and present it in a way that's really beautiful. And you don't have to spend that time trying to get it organized or figure it all out before you hire someone like us. So, whenever I hear people say that, I always just try to encourage them no matter where you're at in your business, if you're ready to hire like a monthly person or you just need like one-time support, don't wait until you have it all figured out to reach out for support and figure out what support might be available because we will ask the right questions and we know how to find the answers that we need and we will guide you through that process. You don't have to come to us with all the answers and everything ready to like present to us. We'll pull all that out, we'll figure out what we need and can go from there.
See, that's the right answer. Just like making somebody feel so comfortable to just literally place their financial
Yeah.
life in your hands and say, "Here, fix me, clean me up, do this thing."
Yes.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so what has been one of the most rewarding things for you about your business?
Good question. I would say the most, I kind of have two on the kind of the me side. I think the most rewarding thing has been the personal development that has happened becoming an entrepreneur. I think I don't think I've talked to a single entrepreneur who has not grown personally through the process of running a business. I mean, you are
Mhm.
having to go through so many challenges, you're becoming a better problem solver, you're figuring out all kinds of things. You're learning things you never thought you would ever have to learn in your life.
Yep.
Yep. And so that has just been really rewarding. Like I think back each year, I kind of think back like how much I've grown over year, or even, like 5 years ago and what that's looked like. And that has been really rewarding. And I think the other side of it is truly the client transformations that we see. I mean, we have businesses that come to us with these big visions. And so then getting to celebrate wins with them whenever they hit a revenue goal or hire a new team member or, start a new product or service and it's selling, for us to be able to see that and celebrate that win with them is incredibly rewarding.
Do you have any stories you want to share about any of that stuff?
We have, oh gosh, yeah, so many, but I'm just trying to figure out what I would want to share. I mean, we have a client that started with us and they have literally 5x'd their business in the last year and a half. So even to see like that level of growth, and they were a big business when they came to a big small business when they came to us. So to see sort of that level of growth, we also have helped people hire their very first employees. Honestly, that's pretty rewarding to see like someone come to us as they work for themselves and things have been going well. And then they start to see some growth, but they're terrified of hiring, don't know if they can afford to pay that person, what cash flow will look like, how to set up a payroll system. They're terrified of payroll taxes, what that looks like, how to file them, all the things. So helping them get set up with that first hire and then kind of seeing their business grow and evolve from there is really cool to see.
That's awesome. Okay, Ashley. So, one of my final questions I always ask my guests, what does success mean to you?
Mm. Success to me means financial freedom. And I think that the term of financial freedom even means different things to a lot of people. So I'm always encouraging people to kind of define that for themselves. But for me, it's being able to do what I love and make money doing it. That is success. It's being able to wake up every day. I might not like every single thing I do every day, but I get to like the vast, vast majority of things that I do every single day. And to be able to make money doing it, that is success.
Awesome. Well, Ashley, it has been a pleasure getting to talk with you today on this episode. I
Thank
can't wait to see what
you.
you continue to do with Pretty Penny. So
Thank you so much. This was such a fun conversation. Thank you for having me, and I'm excited to stay connected.
awesome. Thanks. So, one of my favorite things that she said is the best advice that she's received. You're not going to like everything that you do, but you need to love most of it. And I think that is really everything about small business. That is straight up. We need to remind ourselves we're not going to like everything that we do in a day. I don't like to do filing. It's got to be done. I don't like to do it. I still have to do it. Now, I kick myself because I bring that up because it's not an area I do well because I like 1,000 miles an hour and I definitely need a person to clean up after me. It is as simple as that. That's on my list when I get to that point where I can hire that. There's so many things in a day that you don't like to do that's necessary for your business. You don't have to like everything that you do, but you got to love most of it. That keeps you going. It keeps waking you up in a day and getting like even when you're so depleted you just can't move, loving what you do keeps you going. Now, should you take a break? Yes, you should absolutely take breaks. And ideally a nice vacation that your accountant helps you, budget for and figure out and you can spend that money because money's coming in. That's how you take good vacations like that. It's also being able to know that because financial stuff is one of our top three worries. If you're going to worry about anything, that is probably in the top three things. The money, whatever, the situation, the outcome, the circumstances. And she had a phrase in there about money mindset. Find someone that you're working with your financial life on where their money mindset is about abundance, not working from a deficit or a lack thereof. You might be in debt, but there's abundance to be had, like abundance as in cash flow in to take care of the debt to then rise above the debt. You don't have to be in debt forever. If you want to be a debt free company, that's one of the goals. Like, get somebody who believes in the beauty of abundance and how money should work for you, not you for it. And I believe Ashley's definitely got a great attitude about that stuff. So, and I loved getting to know about the origins of Pretty Penny and just, hearing the good stuff. I love good, positive conversations. That's what this was. And I thank you guys all every time you show up to listen to a full episode of Small Business Success Talk. I'm so thrilled because I love having the conversations after the fact as well. I love that each of my guests are able to build you up and provide value. And I look forward to doing more. I love to see where this show is going to go because I got some ideas. If there's specific things that you want to hear from us, if you want me to bring back some subject matter experts, I am working on doing some specific series for this year. So stay tuned for that. And with that, be on the lookout for the next episode of Small Business Success Talk. I've been your host, Christy Smallwood.